What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Yeah, no. What reason? What the fuck? What's happening? I'm playing the game while trying to do my setup. Guys, he's cheating. He's multi-fucking client screen tab thingy. Ah! Ah! Oh, they're in the Was it just loading in the game? Maybe it was just loading in the game. I think it was just loading in the game. Alright. Let me get comfortable over here. Situated. Hold on. Alright, that's probably going to help out with the mic situation. Because my chair was farther back than it usually is. Also, this is really fucking loud.
We've received word from the astronaut. Do you have a moment? It seems they encountered something of interest in the Wyvern's Rest. Let's go and
Here,
meet
let's
with
actually
Lofi.
just do this. Lower that a lot. Yeah, I saw that. This is not a fun time to be in, fellas. You can all watch this. Because we have to see it in the comments section.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and you know, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta be pretty real with you. The worst part about YouTube as a hobby is honestly the comment section. And it's nothing to do with the comments you guys write, to be honest with you. I don't care if you guys, you know, love me in the comments or you guys absolutely dislike me. You know, I love reading the discourse when it's human beings talking. But obviously, I'm sure some of you guys know, and I'm sure a lot of your favorite creators have probably seen this, there is a serious problem with YouTube bots. Now, I've talked about this before, so there's no reason for me to be making another video unless there was some pretty serious criminal shit happening in the comment section
but I'm also
below.
in the process
Now,
of cutting
normally I
my own
wouldn't care
hair.
about bots so much, and there's multiple types of them. Like, you'll probably see, like, the bots, as soon as I upload a video, you'll go into the comment section, and they're like, wow, I found this video really inspirational, Muda. You really changed the way I live.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Thank you for existing. Yeah, I know that's a bot.
But I'm told
okay?
it looks good.
100%. That has to be a bot. The video came out 1 second ago, and you
Run
already
with it.
wrote the comment, okay? Get out of here. I could talk about stretching my anus to, like,
Do I
extreme
have color
degrees,
correction on?
and these
Hello?
bots would post that crazy comments. Wow, I found this video really inspirational. But I'm talking about these specific
let's do
comments
that.
I
had the color correction on, I remember, because I was trying to make it look more normal, but now it
CP in the comments section.
now it looks
okay?
normal.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there are
Kind of.
YouTube
I mean, you know, I'm
bots
kind of
now
fading in
that
and
are
out of
now
existence, but at least
basically,
it's
spreading
semi-normal.
links that you can access, links that go to Discord, and on these Discords, they are openly sharing actual CP, CSAM material, exploitation material. So, how does this happen? How is
Not
this
good
occurring?
shit.
And I'm going to obfuscate
Bad
some
shit.
names because, to be honest with you, I don't want to give attention. And
Here, let me
this
put
is
my
such a
green hat
serious
on
issue
that
again, I
somehow
feel like giving
works.
attention to these
Is it
specific
working?
individuals just gives them power. So
as
one
in
of the
like you can
comments that
see
you'll
it, not
for
works
instance,
as in
on,
like it
you know,
works
these
with the
random
chroma key,
bot
works as in
accounts,
it
they'll
doesn't
say,
work.
I posted a preview of Days
And I don't know why.
on my
Like
page, full
I say,
description.
it doesn't.
Now,
It worked.
obviously,
Yeah,
if
I'm
you're
glad
ever
that
a
it
fan of
doesn't
my
work.
Dark Web series,
It shouldn't
you
work
know what this
with the
specific
chroma key
video is referring to.
because it's not the same
It's
green.
quite possibly one of the most
But it did
illegal videos
for a time, and then it
that
didn't.
are
And
on the
I
dark
don't know
web
what
or just
I
on
don't know what the
internet in
difference
general.
was
If you want to
between
learn
my
more,
settings.
there's a great documentary about Peter Scully, the
Because I thought it was the
scumbag
AI
behind this.
background
I believe
shit.
it's 60
It
Minutes
wasn't because I
Australia.
have that
Really,
on. I don't know.
dark,
I don't get
razor
it.
the hair on the back of your neck type of shit. But again, it gets even further. This is an issue that was out about a year ago. And again, this was posted 1 year ago on Reddit. What is the deal with, again, this group and why is this happening? So on every big YouTuber's video, there's always a weird bot spamming hundreds of links to illegal material. One of the most horrible things I've ever seen them post to is, again, Daisy's destruction. How is that allowed on YouTube? So one of the reasons why this is kind of allowed on YouTube is apparently these people have been trying to bypass the actual moderation. So for instance, if you take some of their comments, like these bot comments, you basically highlight it all, you copy it into a text editor, you might notice that they're abusing Unicodes like right to left, where certain languages like Arabic, Hebrew, anything that is written right to left, they will be abusing, you know, these mechanics so that it will look normal to the human eye, but to a computer, to a AI moderation tool, you know, it'll just look like garbled gibberish, okay? It'll be like the weirdest text they've ever seen, which makes moderation, I guess, difficult. And this is just one of the tools in these scumbags' arsenal.
Oh, we're lagging.
Now, thankfully, YouTube does actually deal with some of these channels. I would say quick, but not quick enough. And the reason I'm making this video is that, you know, I decided to investigate and go down the rabbit hole. So for some of these accounts, they were posting on my channel, as they were posting on all other YouTubers' channels, right? And they would post, again, constant slurs, you know, racial slurs. They'd say stuff like goy, so on and so forth. You can probably imagine what these slurs are going to. But every time you would go to the profiles for these pages,
I don't see her.
in the YouTube bios,
Am I not at the right place? I don't think I'm at the right place.
They would have Discord URLs that you could click on and access. Now I decided to go down the rabbit hole, and I decided to flip on every virtual machine, secure container, VPN, proxy, every OPSEC protection tool in the book.
To do.
So I do not recommend you do any of this on your own. Chances are, if you just go into these areas, they will flood you with illegal material.
My confirm button
But
feels
anyways,
like it's
I decided
broken.
to check these Discords out.
I might have to open up my controller and fix it again.
No shock of mine, there was very, very visible illegal material. To the point where, obviously, I reported it via Discord. I did every reporting I could to law enforcement agencies, as you should when you come across disgusting shit like this. But then it got even deeper. It led me to an entire forum group where apparently these people are openly on the clear web just sharing illegal material and operating raids against each other. But to give you an idea, anytime you would connect to these Discords or something, right, there would actually be, you know, conniving scumbags on these Discords where they would abuse the private message system and actually send users adult, you know, CSAM material, illegal material. So this was a post from a year ago where a user claimed to be banned from Discord for reporting a CP server. Their account literally got suspended due to serious policy violations. And you might be wondering what the policy violations were. They broke the rules for child safety. So the way that I understand it, these scumbags guide young children or unsuspecting idiots into their Discord servers, right? Because, you know, kids just click down the rabbit hole or anything. They'll join any Discord you give them, okay? We're all dumb kids. The difference is, when I was a dumb kid, there wasn't these kind of calculated scumbags on the internet at this level of prevalence. But so a kid joins a server, they get sent illegal material, the scumbags report the victim's account, and then the victim's account obviously appears to possess, you know, some level of illegal CSAM material, which probably gets them into trouble, not just with Discord, but definitely would start an investigation, I would imagine, with law enforcement agencies as well, especially when Discord is kicking you off for that reason. So the user says there's a bot channel on YouTube where they post really deranged comments. They went to research, joined their servers, and found out that the
just a different arena, but it's the same arena.
And later I found out from members that they sent actual CPN servers. And they just keep creating creating new servers if they get banned. Yeah, Discord just has the biggest predator problem imaginable. So as a
Okay, well, I'm
normal
glad
person,
that
I
worked.
reported it and left the server because I don't know what else to do. After several days, I got 3 Gmails from Discord. First was that my account was disabled, then the second was that my account was permanently suspended, and the third was thank you for reporting me. So they went to do their account standing, and they were permanently
What the fuck? Why did I put my sword away? I pushed fucking square.
And again, I don't know everything in the back end that happened, but they ended up getting banned for reporting this kind of disgusting
Unfortunate.
behavior. And it
Also,
really
that's
seems
really,
they
like, how the
Uno
fuck are you
reverse
getting
carded on
banned?
him. And again, obviously, some guy
Or
in the
that's
comment section
bullshit. That's
literally
fucking
says,
bullshit,
Yeah, you
is
should
what
have
I'm
done
getting
that on and off. And yes, that is true. You should not be investigating these things, period, unless you actually know the kind of scumbags
Okay,
you're
well,
dealing
what the
with.
fuck?
These people are willing to not just get rid of your account and like guide you into these kind of places, but they're also willing to try and attempt to hack little children, hack any unsuspecting victim, and God knows do whatever with their stuff. Now, YouTube, when it comes to moderating comments, you know, they actually did do something pretty, wild back in 2019. They actually shut down comment sections for a lot of family channels. So, for instance, one large family channel is this channel called Jordan Matter. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, this is a huge channel that obviously, you know, they share videos of their child, right? Like kids become parents for a day, daughter's new best friend, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
and they're
shit.
pretty
Okay.
popular. Like, these videos get like 70 to 80 million views, okay? And even nowadays, they're still pulling in millions of viewership every day. It's
Oh
literally
no!
just, a little
Wait.
girl put up on the screen, dad
Wait,
records her,
no!
posts
Oh
it
no!
all
It did not
online.
last.
Now,
It-
his channel
in the
does
other game, it
comment
lasts
section
like the
turned
entire
off. So
fight.
then, from 6 years ago, back in
And World, it
2019,
lasts like the
he
entire
kinda talked
time.
about this a little bit.
Hello everyone, I am in Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. I just snuck into the pool. I'm not allowed to be here. It's closed.
Oh,
Let's
this
go
isn't good.
Man, I love how they try to like convince the children watching. Ooh, he snuck around. No, he paid for filming privileges. Come on.
swim. Do you know why they did that? Comments. Just like they have, because YouTube has disabled all my comments. Just like they have on thousands of other family channels.
Okay.
Do you know why they did that? Because a few people wrote comments that were inappropriate on certain family channels, not mine, and as a result, they just shut down comments on everyone. Hopefully, it's temporary.
It's
Oh
fine.
no, he's really underselling exactly what happened. Let me explain in the non-child friendly way, okay? There was a lot of
Oh, yeah, I bet it
pedophiles
does.
who were on the platform, okay, that were actually leaving comments on YouTube, okay? They were actually communicating with each other. So there were investigations by the BBC and trusted flaggers that found clips that kids just posted, right? Like kids would just post. And remember that stuff back in the day where it was like webcam video from, you would just put that into like YouTube search and it was just, you know, kids using like the webcam recording tool at the
Okay,
time,
cool.
auto posting it, and the thing would
'Cause
just
I don't know what the
auto-title
fuck
it
is
as,
going
like,
on. Okay, I don't
webcam
know which
video
one is
from
which anymore,
whatever,
to be
so
honest with you. I
it's
think this is the
time.
one I've been wailing
Yeah, there
on.
would just be scumbags, predatory adults who would leave disgusting comments and sexually explicit requests.
on, man.
Right? Again, clearly on YouTube to little children. All right, and obviously YouTube was like, okay, we got to get our algorithms to first of all detect where these kids are uploading. All right, where are their videos? Okay, turn those comment sections completely off. Okay, it was like throw the baby out with the bathwater. And normally, I'm not even so opposed to it. But so these kind of groups evolved from this nonsense into like getting people off platform to Discord and to other sites. Now this group that has been
Dude,
kind of flying
this is
everyone's channel,
not a good spot to be
this
in.
bot group, you know, kind of started
Oh,
off as
no,
like
this is
kids,
not a good spot
you know,
to be
just
in.
just a trolling group that would pick on, you know, children who had like neurodivergence, okay, kids who were on the spectrum, all right, easy targets basically, disgusting shit. And then of course it became a more organized endeavor. Now when people say, what is the darkest corner of the internet? Is it 4chan? Is it the Shardy? Is it Kiwi Farms? A lot of these websites, you know, they sound spooky, but all the websites I just said are websites where, yes, it's the Wild West of the internet. There is some wild stuff being said on these websites every single day. Some would say these websites possibly harass actual people, right? Even though I think when it comes to like Kiwi Farms, not the Shardy, but I think Kiwi Farms is like a don't, you know, interact with people we talk about mentality. I know the Shardy, the Soy Jack Party, absolutely like does raids and stuff. But each and every single one of these websites has a very solid policy of no child, adult, or child, you know, exploitation material.
Come on, man. I gotta
That
dodge that
stuff
attack.
is
That does
very
so
much
much damage.
However, the website that, you know, these YouTube bot comments are linking people to You know, first they get people from YouTube to jump into Discord, and then on Discord they will link, you know, children or new visitors to their new website. Now this website is, I don't want to like exactly name it, but we'll just call it the, we'll call the website, you know, Filthy Cabin, or Website X, so to speak. Now I went to Website X, and this is a website that will absolutely try everything they can to, you know, grab user cookies or absolutely log IP addresses. I mean, every website logs your IP address, but these people do everything they can to grab as much information on their visitors and possibly use it to dox you. So again, I went through this with virtual private networks, you know, VMs, every single protection that I could have, okay? Because I'm not, you know, dealing with the script kiddie nonsense. And this is where it gets really disgusting.
Come on now.
So on their website, obviously, some of the things that these people talk about very openly, clear web stuff, by the way, they have a dead crack baby thread. So just kind of shows you the disgusting sickos we see. Inside the media tab, where everything can be posted, gore, allowed, everything.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Openly posted.
I went right fucking through him.
Talking about child, you know, material.
I blame this on his skinniness. It's because he's so damn thin.
Inside the Q&A, where somebody asks, should I eat animal feces? What animal should I kill on camera? And of course, at some point, if you're worried about, you know, these people, you know, constantly ban evading, they have full guides for it. How to evade Discord bans and whatnot. And of course, if you can imagine the kind of sickos that are on this website, they are map priding all day, every day on this site. Now, I don't have to explain to you what the fuck map pride is. So one of the staff members on this website says, please calm down your larps because we got reported for an age of consent thread. And please don't post bestiality. Now, why would they be asked not to? I guess it's because apparently the service providers for this disgusting website X were actually being hit with these constant complaints of illegal material being hosted. Now, in this case, I want to thank a website known as Kiwi Farms here. Obviously, you may not like them, but in this case, they actually have a lot of the screenshots and a lot of the evidence basically archived.
I hit you with the thrust. Okay.
Like, view on the history
well, it's fine. Oh, it's because he's dead. That's why it didn't work.
Group, pretty much known as No Limits Blocks. Now, the name is actually a reference to Peter Scully's No Limits Fund, right? So you can see sort of where the origin points for this degeneracy kind of lie into.
Yep.
And eventually, you know, if you go to Ruben Sim's video, he'll even tell you that, you know, at some point, you know, about a whole network of predatory individuals on Roblox were just chilling in these groups. And it later evolved into an entire forum. Now, according to individuals from the Discord servers in this disgusting group and this disgusting area, apparently
it's like a king cobra. It's so much like a mix between a king cobra and a centipede.
What is 90% sure was, again, illegal CP. And there were people from a more notorious FBI investigated group that targets children for self-harm and exploitation purposes, 764, possibly were in it. Now, these are all screenshots and archives and records captured by Kiwi Farms. So again, you know, they're the ones that did the capture. I'm not going to say that I was the one that, you know, dug into these areas and got the stuff. This is a lot of history that we're looking at, several years. And, you know, it's all out there in the open, and unfortunately these people are pipelining and just commenting all on actual YouTube videos.
Oh, wow, you got me fucked up with that one, dude.
World where, you know, years ago, many years ago, if you ask somebody, how do I find illegal stuff on the internet, you'd have to go to the dark web. But it's disgusting that the pipeline for accessing this disgusting material, it just takes a few clicks on YouTube now, all through the comment box. I mean, going down this rabbit hole is such a mentally obliterating thing. Because again, the amount of police reports and the amount of tips that you have to file and the reports you have to make on really disgusting stuff shouldn't have to be happening.
I'm so glad it didn't go off, dude.
It shouldn't have been a thing.
That would have been very upsetting.
It shouldn't have been a thing.
Woo! I'm surprised I hit that one.
Comment bots on YouTube have jumped from saying meaningless shit. And I remember back in the day when I was younger, guys, comment bots used to just post cute little chainmails, right? Like it used to be cute little like creepypastas almost.
Yeah.
Now in 2025,
it's straight up criminal.
This stuff has been going on since like the early 2010s, but it's gotten really bad in the last couple months to the point where again they are openly, very quickly, within a couple of clicks, leading children, leading anybody off on the Discord platforms, and then through Discord, pipelining them into a clear web, disgusting website where the most illegal material is being openly shared.
Come on now.
Now again, I'm just going to say for the record, I haven't opened up any of their image threads, but being that they're so brazenly talking about it, I have no reason not to believe that illegal stuff is being shared. But the fact that it's being done so openly, and you know, they're just trying to get people to jump onto it, and you know, it'd be one thing if this was in the darkest corner of the
any minute now.
But the fact that these people are pipelining individuals from YouTube and other large social networks, that needs to stop. You know, and I really, you know, with all the AI shit that YouTube has been pushing and stuff lately,
oh, for fuck's sake,
I really wish
dude.
some extra effort is put towards stopping this specific behavior. Because I'll be real, man, like, YouTube is not a job for me, but, you know, it's a hobby.
Well, that sucks.
And I think the worst part about my hobby is not like, you know, oh, I gotta record a video or edit the video or do something boring in the process of making a video. No, it's the fact that I have to basically full-time job of moderation sometimes, and I have to try, and no matter how much you whack-a-mole against it, these people keep surviving and they keep posting. You might be like, Muda, you talking about this probably makes the situation worse, or maybe makes you a target. And at the end of the day, look, that's still no excuse. I think most people don't know how bad the situation is, but I really feel like if this blows up and at least like people are kind of talking about it, maybe, you know, a site like YouTube can maybe make this a priority focus. They do a decent job moderating, but they really have to stop this stuff because these people's accounts are active sometimes for about a month. And in that month, God knows how many people they attract to these Discord servers where they're just sharing illegal material right there, and then going over to another website where they're sharing even more illegal stuff. It's disgusting. It needs to stop. And ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.
Why is it frozen like that? What the fuck? Okay, anyways.
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mutahar. I know this is gonna be one guy in the comments. Blue
Wait a minute,
polo
that was
analysis.
perfect timing.
Well, it's pretty true.
That
You
was
know what?
so
I got the Best
ideal
Buy
in
Blue
timing.
on. I'm about to crap all over Microsoft like they're the nicest street in existence. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, Windows 10 is dying this year. I'm not shy about making videos on this. I've actually talked about this, and I basically said that, you know, Windows 10, all the updates and the security stuff,
I think I already saw that. Not really. I mean, like, aside from it being July 4th, which, by the way, happy 4th, everybody. Actually, it's over now. It's now the 5th. Fuck. I missed it. Not a whole lot going on right now. When I started the stream, people were still shooting off fireworks over here. I think they're done now. I don't even know what the fuck you want anymore, Turkey Tom. What the fuck? I mean, like, I'm not saying like a bad thing. Was I supposed to hold that button? I'm not playing the keyboard, dude. Why would I be playing this with a fucking keyboard? Alright, hold on. I wasn't expecting this to take so long.
So we had a pretty interesting thing happen. This entire event has massively popped off. So Stop Killing Games has reached 1 million signatures. 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 1 million
Okay, this one's going to be fun. So, the Stop Killing Games initiative is almost over, and the last time we covered it, the European Citizens Initiative, which is the part of it that matters the most, had just opened. And as of right now, you've got just days to join it, meaning that this is your last chance to make your voice heard and hopefully prevent the games that you buy from being destroyed.
That's right.
But here's the thing. Until last week, it really did seem to be
dead.
rather doomed.
Yeah.
They needed hundreds
People
and
lost
hundreds and
interest.
hundreds, over 500,000 more signatures. But, well, right now, it's getting thousands an hour. The reason why is quite funny. So
It
here's what
crossed 1 million. They have reached the goal, and they are even going beyond that even farther. What is it at right now?
happened. They needed to hit 1 million signatures.
Where the fuck
After
is that?
months of
What the?
stalling, they
Where the
only had
fuck is this
450.
person at?
But then, over the horizon, a savior came.
They're past 1.1.
That
They're
savior
1.13.
is pirate software.
Oh
That's
my god,
because
dude,
his
this game is
opposition
not doing
was,
well right now.
Pinches of World of Warcraft sparked a drama that is now surging signatures to the tune of
Okay,
over
well they're obviously
240,000
somewhere else
in just 7
entirely,
days.
all the fucking
So,
way
that's
over
right.
that
Getting
way.
up to speed. It all began last year when the darlings at Ubisoft shut down the crew.
Aye.
Now, they didn't just shut down the online features, they shut down
They made the
everything.
game- yeah, you
because,
couldn't
as
even
it
play
turns
it.
out, even the single player required the
Oh,
online
I can't.
component. That basically meant that your copy
I can't
of the
go down
crew
this way.
was, no longer
Okay.
a thing that you could really do anything with.
Yep.
So, Ross Scott from Accursed Farms was not a fan of this, so he started a movement.
No,
Now,
I
the
should
main
totally
one
be
was
able
from
to.
things like
Maybe
Freedom's
if I'm-
Mind or
Yep.
Bad Game News, and
Maybe
his
if I'm on
plan,
the-
right,
it
was
totally
to
looks like a
use
way,
the
yeah, it
law.
is.
Ross has been an advocate for gamer rights and other types of consumer protections for electronic media for a long period of time. This isn't, it's not like this
Wait,
is
I
his
think I'm
first
going the wrong
rodeo
way.
and it's his first time talking about this. He's been an advocate for this for quite a while.
Not change.org to actually change things here. And it certainly seems that now, a year on, he actually may succeed in a way. So basically,
yes.
right, Ross believes that consumers bought a product with games like The Crew, and that product was then taken
do.
away. But
That's
from
correct.
Ubisoft's perspective, it's rather different. They argue that they sold a license to a live service, a service that they could simply end whenever they wanted. So put simply, what this movement aims to do is to address this gray area so that at the very least, people would get
I don't think that companies should be allowed to repackage sales
Hello?
as licenses
I wanna
rather
hunt you
than
now.
products in order to just take consumer rights away from the user. I think that's bullshit. How does that help anybody? How is that in any way in the benefit of the actual customer or the population? Yeah, it's not right. Yeah, it's bullshit.
formal clarity on what they were actually buying. Best case scenario would involve something basically with more
Okay, that's
teeth.
mad disrespectful,
Now, this was all
Rafiki.
multi-pronged. There was a UK campaign that hit problems early on with the
We stay
government
from the
claiming
start?
that existing
True.
laws already covered
Very
the issue.
true.
As for the US, well, basically, it was never an option because of already settled law. And because of this, stuff looked grim. But last summer, another path opened, and that path was the EU Citizen Initiative. So, this lets EU citizens propose legislative agendas. And this proposal was very simple. Stop destroying video games. And what it
Imagine
would
that.
require certainly does sound simple. It's that any game sold in the future would have to prepare for the eventuality or possibility of server shutdowns, that they would need to remain in a functional, playable state. Now, this could be through, say, single-player access, maybe through...
Or they got to give people their money back. Like, I think that if you revoke service from somebody and you take somebody's service away,
Okay, this
you have
is
to give them
just
their money
not
back.
the way to be.
You can take them off of your official servers, maybe, but like to just take their entire account
This is
back,
not
because
good.
like it, again, it's just
Okay.
not fair. There's not really a balance of power between like the user or a you know, what do you call it? The user and the seller.
I did push the button to cancel it, but it was right as I landed.
Right? But
Oh,
actually,
fuck,
what's
dude.
key right now is that at this point, the implementation details are actually not required. The way this works is that if it is successful, the EU would then have 6 months to respond, and if they say yes,
Yep.
then they will adopt a resolution, and that would guide EU activity.
This at
but it
least
would
moves
not
things in that
instantly mean
direction.
A whole bunch of new super hasty
Satoru!
laws. But make no mistake, it would actually matter, and that's because
Well, it would
policy-
get the ball rolling. It would not just like immediately, oh, we get the petition to 1 million signatures and then everything solves
Fuck,
itself.
dude.
No, it will take time
Am I
for
frozen?
this to happen.
The hell
but
happened
it
to
at
me?
least begins that timeline it starts the timeline.
Nice. No consumption
Has
of a
got
nullberry.
global impact. I mean, it's pretty obvious now. Just look at Apple.
As a
and
dev,
Google.
I disagree with this. This all falls flat on intellectual property. I understand that, and I know that a lot of developers feel that way. But the way
got
that
me
you
fucked
imagine
up.
intellectual property, I don't think is in the best interest of the customer. And I think that if you have a business transaction that's fundamentally not in the best interest of the customer, and it's
Oh, yeah, he didn't like
predatory,
that.
problematic,
Oh, he doesn't
or
like this one
unfair
at
in
all.
nature, then I think the government needs to come in and regulate it to make sure that the customer is being represented and treated in a fair way. So I understand that, basically, I don't agree with the current. I think intellectual property law and the amount of ways that a person
Fuck's
can
sake.
exercise intellectual property law right now, I think that it's too overreaching. It's way too overreaching, and it's not fair for an average person.
For one example. Now, for this, all that's needed is
Or just don't buy it? No, I don't agree with that at all. I think that whenever, and the problem is that just don't buy it doesn't work when every other company inside of a market does the same thing and adopts the same principle. So that's called a cartel, right? Like you have price fixing and all of these other things that are against the law. Like, just stop buying something is nice to say, sure, but you're not existing. Like, there's a lot of people that have an illusion of a free market, but most markets are actually not very free at all. Just don't buy it. And also, by the way, just don't sell it. Like, if you can say just don't buy it as like a throwaway line, then I feel like I could
You
say
just
just
fucking
don't sell
heal?
it as a throwaway line too, right?
No, he couldn't have.
Well, if you don't like the law, then don't make a game like that. So,
A, 1 million
you're at an
signatures,
impasse
and
there.
B, a minimum threshold being passed in at least 7 EU countries, which basically just exists, so, I don't know. The French all get together and want something that nobody else wants, and only one country passes them. Hey, the EU's safe. Anyway, you get the point. That is the challenge. Those are the stakes. So here's what happened next. Going through the requirements, the regional thresholds do seem to be quite manageable, right?
Yeah.
Now, the million signatures is
That's a
quite
lot.
a lot. I mean,
And it
hell of a
happened.
lot.
And it
success there would
fucking
require a
happened. That's what's
multilingual
crazy.
international campaign, one that's actually centered on EU citizens. Who was leading it? Well, an English-speaking YouTuber with a cult following, which
Asman loves authoritarianism, as you were saying earlier. You see, you view it as authoritarianism. I view it as freedom from authoritarianism.
For fuck's sake.
Because in my
Even the
opinion,
little guys.
authoritarianism, what makes authoritarianism so scary is whenever it's tyrannical without the ability for the public to be able to have a recourse against it. So, for example, if you don't like the president or you don't like a representative in your country, or at least in the United States,
Oh,
you
for
can vote
fuck's
to
sake.
have that person removed. But the problem is that whenever you're having this with a company, you can't necessarily
Oh,
vote
for
to have a
fuck's
company
sake.
removed. And when a company establishes a monopoly in a certain market, like, for example, Visa and MasterCard do in terms of payment processors, and then they apply their laws and their rules arbitrarily, or like the recent case with Epic
okay.
and Fortnite and selling on the Apple Play Store, I think that you run into a big issue of authoritarianism with no accountability. Because authoritarianism is being exercised right now, but the people that have the authority are not accountable to the public. And that's what the real problem is. So the actual argument that I'm making here is not in favor of authoritarianism, it's actually against it. Because I want authoritarianism that is accountable to the public rather than authoritarianism that's accountable to shareholders.
I mean, positively, just to be clear. But basically, it's not a huge number of people. Now, this story obviously did cut through. Loads of people covered it, us included, and the early momentum was really strong.
Yeah.
Until it wasn't. Now, this is because some things fell through. One being
That's just the end goal of capitalism. Why are you discovering this now? Capitalism is one of the greatest things, and it's the best social and economic system in the entire world. And every country that doesn't adopt capitalism is a awful third world shithole that you would never want to live in. And even countries like China are adopting capitalism in multiple other ways, and you are naive to think otherwise. Capitalism has brought an untold and unfathomable amount of wealth to the entire world, and it is the premise of the entire identity of Western civilization. So if you don't like capitalism, go move to a shithole
I should have
without
seen
it.
this coming.
But you won't. Because you know capitalism is a good thing. As with anything, if you drink too much water, you'll drown. Is water bad? No, it's not.
Feature
Anything can be overdone.
Newsletter that was tanked by that company having layoffs. Even Heineken, yes, Heineken, the beer people, wanted to include the campaign in their marketing, but only after the petition ended. But there is another one, and I think I know it's the one you want me to talk about. Yes, the pirate.
Oh.
Okay, TLDR. Pirate Software opposed the initiative. This is back when it all kicked off. So what I'll do
It's
here
just-
is
it's
boil
just
down what I
better.
essentially think is the best
It's just
case.
all. I mean, unless they changed it, I don't know if they changed
Which
it
is
in this
essentially
game.
that in very many cases,
But
overregulation
usually
often actually helps
capturing
the
it is just
incumbents.
better.
In this case, would help the AAA
At
companies.
least it wasn't
The
World
reason
and
This
Rise.
is true. That wasn't the argument I think Pirate Software was making, but it's true that oftentimes a lot of companies that are very
Those two
big
games
argue
capturing is
and
way better.
advocate for higher degrees of regulation that have additional costs in order to pull the ladder up to make it difficult to have emerging companies make it into the market. This is very common.
that they would
It's
Oh,
like, for
right, I was
example,
doing-
like think of
I was
it in like
doing
in
a
World
thing.
of Warcraft. Whenever you get to item level like 600, and then you make it to where after that, the only people that can join your raid are also item level 600. Well, that's what happens basically.
the only companies with the resources to actually overcome the regulations. That is actually a fair enough, reasonable argument. But I think in practice, it's fair to say that Pirate Software, in his 2 videos, was not really steel manning his opposition.
Interesting.
There were some errors. Wasn't
Nice
really
place
a
you
great
got here, Rove.
situation. But really in this story, there's a key thing to remember. The initial, I'll say drama, let's just say hot public disagreement, that where it happened when, let's just say, his internet stocks were in a slightly different and altogether more healthy place.
It did.
Since then, he was involved in a major World of Warcraft drama, which I will cover shortly. I don't like doing drama.
It's crazy how bad that drama affected him. It is actually insane. I don't think that I can, like, I don't know the last time that somebody had video game drama negatively affect them that much.
But in this case, it does actually inform how the news would play out. As for the initiative, well, by the following April, signatures were just sitting at 425k. That's not
redemption?
even halfway, and only 25,000 signatures had been added between April and last week. So it basically was dead in the water. Momentum from the previous summer had completely fizzled out. But then, with only weeks to go, Scott posted his video. Everything changed.
Yep.
The end of Stop Killing Games. It's a fairly dramatic, somber title for a video, and one that is fair. It absolutely did appear to be dead. It was a final plea and an explainer made by a very, very tired-looking man. It was clear to me that the campaign had taken its toll. Scott admitted as much. One choice quote, "It's like asking someone with severe dyslexia to write a book report on war and peace. I am the wrong person for that job." I think that does speak to the absolutely mammoth.
I'm so engaged in what I'm watching. I'm not really
But
really conversating. Not really commentating.
He explained point by point, right, how Pirates coverage was, in his view, not at all a fair representation of the overall initiative, its goals, its specific language, and I would say from my read of it, I think Pirate almost immediately jumped straight to some worst case outcomes of a maximalist version of the campaign.
Sure.
Of course, we can add to that an interpersonal level to all of this, you know, the usual emotional reactions, hot words. But if it was just that, if it was only that, well, what happened would not really be what has happened. So let's talk about World of Warcraft. As
Oh
It's
yeah, look at that.
crazy that this was all because of a WoW guild. This was nuts. Oh my fucking god.
As I said, I hate covering drama, but today it is actually relevant.
Oh,
because
this is
basically
annoying.
It all comes back to
I mean, he's
WoW.
not a hard guy to fight. He's not like the orangutan motherfucker from World in the DLC, but
Because basically, this is why people.
That is what happened, is that as soon as the WoW event happened and people got really mad at him, then it got really popular to make negative content about him. Then people went back and they brought up like that Maldavius fig tree stuff, and then they brought up him doing those playthroughs and people thinking that it was inauthentic. And then they brought up what else besides that? Oh, the voice changer thing. And I think there was like a couple of other things. Yeah, Ashes of Creation, where he pulled that mob, and Ashes of Creation. Like a lot
Are you
of
kidding
stuff,
me?
right? So it kind of, it was like a domino,
for fuck's sake,
basically.
get the fuck away from me.
It was topic after topic. Yeah, exactly. People went crazy, crazy, crazy about it. As soon as people realize that you can get positive feedback on social media by being negative
I
about
should
a
never
person
run
or a
towards
topic, it creates a feedback loop that multiplies that amount of negative feedback or negative sentiment by like 50x.
Yeah, that's
Because
cool.
people
Whatever,
want
dude.
social media attention.
You do
and
you,
so
I'll do
they
me.
go after it by adopting.
We're definitely
these
not going our
causes and
separate
saying
ways, though.
these
You're
things.
dying.
Whereas in a lot of cases, if this was happening in a private situation, you know, any of these dramas, like, you know, even like the big ones, would probably not be taken very seriously on an interpersonal level. But on the internet, they're taken extremely seriously because there is clout to be gained.
Fuck's sake.
And this is not something that's unique to Pirate Software. It's it's a phenomenon that happens on the internet, and it's happened to me multiple times too. So I've seen it. I've seen it.
I guess it cleanses me.
I have farmed other people for this, and I have been farmed for this. Sometimes you're the farmer, other times you're the crop. That's the way it goes. It's a rough and tumble world out there, and if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. That's the way I see it.
Ready, willing, and even excited to hop back into the fray and to pump all of this up. So here's the TLDR. OnlyFans is a WoW Classic hardcore streamer content guild. That's a lot of words, but basically think of it as a reality TV show where dozens to hundreds of hours of gameplay are at stake because when the character dies...
It's like Love Island, where instead of everybody having sex, nobody does.
It is dead, just that that character has got lots of fans in Twitch chat and some sort of big name behind them in the form of a streamer. Pirate, along with other streamers, were doing a dungeon in this game. And that dungeon went poorly. People died, and of course, whenever they died, that means they lose their characters. Characters that progressed. Now you might be thinking, so what? A World of Warcraft dungeon run went bad and people lost their characters in a hardcore server. Why is that a news story? Well, there absolutely is a reason why. So, it was broadly seen that he went very much every man for himself mode, trying to save his own character, and really to the detriment of his teammates, a few of whom died. Now, at the time, tensions were high, and those tensions were pointed at Pirate Software, both from
Okay,
that's
messed up.
Chance kicked Pirate out of the guild. Large majority of the guild felt uncomfortable doing it. It put Chance in a pretty weird position.
Oh, for fuck's sake, dude, I just got fucking cured from this shit.
And in my opinion, I think that, like, I could tell that OnlyFans 2 was going sour. Not when the pirate stuff happened, but when the S-Fan stuff happened. There was, like, an entire hate community about S-Fan dying in Classic WoW.
What the
You
fuck?
can just search this up on Reddit. But there was a huge community that was dedicated around shitting on him and hating on S-Fan. It was really cringe, right?
Came in here and wrecked
like,
it.
oh, S-Fan's bad, he doesn't know what he's doing, right? And it's like, I mean, it's a video game. Like, I can't really give a fuck about this, but it was funny. Well, it was funny, but the problem is that when you allow that type of hostility into a community, that hostility manifests in different ways. It's not like it's only going to apply in one circumstance. It will then apply on other people. They hated on everyone, bro. They did, but S-Fan was one of the prime targets for it. Let's be fair. And so, but no, you're definitely right. And so, like, after it happened to S-Fan, what happened to Pirate Software made a lot more sense. It'll grow and spread, yeah.
Report to Rove.
And what followed was...
Motherfucker, I gotta go all the way over there? Wait, I have a campsite right next to him.
In an emotional sense, the opposite of saying, shit, my bad, I'm sorry, I absolutely could have done more there. my bad. Basically, owning the L, doing so in public, and doing so in a way that feels authentic. Of course, feels authentic because it actually is authentic. So, if you ask me, what actually happened is a common downfall of very smart, very rational people. That's because very smart, very rational people can rationalize how they are very, very right and others are very, very wrong. And from
I think Belluor is very accurate about this, and this is something that I've learned before myself, is that like I have I don't really understand why people get emotional. I'm not an emotional person. And because I'm not an emotional person, when people react emotionally, I don't really know how to approach it or how to react to it, because it's like putting water on a computer.
They're still around.
Like
I'll do it later.
I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you thinking like this? Why can't you just think about this normally? How many people have been accused of being Zionists because they think that Ethan Klein has a reasonable claim to against fair use for Denham's, Frogan, and Caseytron? And they're being called Zionists, that they like Ethan Klein, they're Nazis, and all of this other stuff. It's totally illogical. And what I've learned is that people are just simply not logical. The strongest argument isn't an argument. And because of that, people like Pirate Software fall into the trap of trying to logically reason with people that do not want to be reasoned with. Yeah, you're wrong. You can, but they have to be open for the conversation to change. I'm talking
what do you mean
about
they're in wide
in
area?
a general sense.
Like, am I going to run into them
Not in
again?
an individual sense. In a lot of cases, on an individual personal level, you can change people's minds. But once people get together in groups, it's like the, the Men in Black quote, "A person's smart, but people are stupid." I think that the more people and the more momentum a mindset has, the more one-dimensional it becomes, because it has to cater to that increasingly lower common denominator. So yeah, no, I could talk about this a lot, because it's group psychology, basically. And I think that Belluor, the reason why is I really think Belluor had a great insight with this. And it's something I've never heard discussed before. It's that when you try to apply logic to some situations, many people are just simply unwilling to hear it, even if you, and this is what happens to me, even if you can prove, like I had this happen with my mom, for example. Like I would tell my mom whenever I was like 8 and 9 years old, I said, "Why are you smoking cigarettes? Cigarettes are going to kill you. It says cigarettes kill you. You know cigarettes are going to kill you. They're expensive and they're killing you. Why would you want to kill yourself?" And she just kept smoking cigarettes, and I could just never understand that. It never made sense to me. Why would you do this? And it transcended all rationality in my mind. I still, even to this day, I can't understand it. And so it's hard to stop. Well, it's hard to do a lot of things. It doesn't mean you just shouldn't do it, right? And so that's right. It's not a choice. Well, there's plenty of people that choose to stop smoking. Many people choose to stop smoking. They do it every day. But she just wasn't one of them. And so anyway, I just couldn't understand.
How was I able to get the
and
free
that was
food?
probably the first time
that on the
I
helmet?
came into conflict
Yeah, it
with
was
this.
on the helmet.
other people think and to not have a holistic view of a situation. I mean, to put it in very simple terms, people thought he came off really defensive. And what all of this meant was fuel for the fire, an abundance of fuel. And I've got to imagine that from Pirate's point of view, it really must have looked like the entire world was against
Well,
him.
they were.
Per the dynamics of Twitch, it was an incredible content event. And the reality is that once people are against you, it's very hard to change minds. Especially when, as I think Pirate was, you're feeling...
Somebody says, remember you saying anything, best way I could explain it to you as a non-smoker, cigarettes or a smoker, what soda is to you. Yeah, but my mom was a Catholic, and I remember I said to her, I was like 8 or 9 years old at this time. I said, if killing yourself makes you go to hell, then wouldn't you go to hell for doing something that's killing yourself? And she's like, yeah, I don't know. And like, I had thought this up, and I was like, okay, this is going to convince her to stop doing it. Didn't work. That's a bad analogy? Well, I'm just saying, it's just using logic, but yeah, and addiction doesn't care. Yeah, it doesn't. People do not follow logic.
Quite defensive, and you're very much feeling the toll of thousands of angry people being very angry at you in just about every way they can. Meaning that, yeah, some people were, let's just say, going beyond having just a civil disagreement. Now, after that point,
Now, it's also 8 or 9 years old,
there was a
right?
clip of an Ashes of Creation raid pool that sparked a bit of a drama. There were then accusations of pre-watching games in order to look better on stream. There was critique of his Blizzard credentials and a whole lot of different things. Basically, he turned into somewhat of a punching bag. Now, to, I suppose, try and work through some of this, he did a session with Dr. K. I think it was a pretty enlightening one. It certainly is, I'd say, a good listen. It essentially did get into why he reacted the way he did.
Definitely gotta look at the weapon. Can't forget about that.
Paraphrase here too much beyond just what I've already said. That's my takeaway. So I'd recommend, if you want more texture, more understanding of this story and the social dynamics that made it play out, give Dr.
Let's see here. I agree that the raid made the half game, but I think behind his stance on stop killing games is extremely biased. I think that people were unhappy about his stance because he came at it from the perspective of a developer, and most players don't care about a developer's perspective because they're not developers.
K's video a watch. But as it
pretty
pertains
simple.
to the Stop Killing Games movement, I think you can see how, well, whenever there was the initial disagreement,
Getting that would kind of be an upgrade
looking pretty good.
because of having sleep
Then it was
again.
involved in several major
But
dramas.
it requires
Those
hunting
dramas led
that.
to hundreds
Power
of
plongers,
hundreds
not
of
bad.
thousands, perhaps millions of people.
I think that would
Now
affect
about
the
him
bar
having
on the
issues with
sword.
him. There were a
So
lot
that
of
would make me
videos talking
last in the
about,
red
you know,
blade
mistakes,
mode,
examining
whatever it's called,
everything.
way
And
longer.
that's why right now, for this video, when I just searched for pirate software,
I'd be able to go
guess
into
what
the
I got?
mode,
We've got
be in the
pirate
mode for
software
longer,
unraveling featuring a game
and
developer.
have a better chance of
Eleven
getting
games.
the sleep off more because I do 2 attacks with every base attack, so my attack speed is double.
586K views.
Plus my attack speed
Impressional
is
video,
increased beyond that
266K
to
views.
begin with.
One from Moist
So it's
Critical.
more than double.
1 million views. And that is just
So that's a good combination right there. That's you can't go wrong with that combination.
So many
You can't.
rooted in the dramatic aspect.
You're gonna win.
They were related.
Everything's
to
gonna be
Stop Killing
asleep.
Games, and they all painted Stop Killing Games in a positive light. And what that essentially meant is that now you didn't need to be a game preservation enthusiast to know that Stop Killing Games exists. All you needed was a path.
This is actually a very good insight from Belluer again. This is a great video that he made. He's saying that the hate on pirate software that made him oppositional to Stop Killing Games made the initiative more accessible to more people. This is a very good insight.
Interest in one of the larger ongoing dramas.
I think
and
he's right.
Of course, even if you didn't have that, social media algorithms do know how to find you if you could be interested in it.
Yeah.
All of that means a humongous megaphone. And so far, it absolutely seems it's done the trick. We've went
That
from
wasn't his
almost certain
intent, though?
failure at
Well, I'm just talking about how it
454K
happened.
signatures too.
I'm looking for something and I don't know where.
14K. And at the time of
And now it's at
recording,
1.1
it was only
million.
a few
The common
hours later,
thing in my life, be it on a
737.
job site or here in my
Now,
own
that
fucking
basically
room in my
means
chair.
Less than a day afterwards.
263K
I look
in
for
about
things and I
30
can't find
days.
them.
And obviously,
Yep.
if this rate holds just a little bit longer, they'll absolutely make it. Or will.
And I can only
Because
blame
here's the thing,
myself.
They do actually need
I
consistent.
mean, on a job site I could blame somebody else, but here I can only
Yep.
blame
The reason why
myself.
it's fairly simple.
because
Fake ones could be stripped out. Overexcited.
Who else could have
Americans
moved
having
it?
Fun with a VPN.
No
I don't
one.
know, could probably try
No
to
one
sign
could
up
have
for
moved
this.
it. I
Wouldn't
moved
help
it.
the initiative.
Where the fuck I moved it to.
And well,
That was
in
definitely
America,
not a good
can't
thing.
sign any
Oh,
NDAs.
ah!
So
Yeah,
it's
I
not
found
a
it.
guaranteed thing just yet, but it certainly is looking like it's going to pass 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens if it succeeds is basically this. The EU Commission will consider further action. That could be legislative action, or it could just be guidance on existing consumer laws. Now, no matter what, the industry would have significant input, but regardless, we would get a formal statement on the matter and its legality. And that's actually a powerful starting point for future conversations and new laws.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, it gets even better. Because those conversations have already begun, and we've already started to make progress. Through all the noise and all the
It
drama,
has.
the core problem is fairly
This
simple.
is a great
That
thing.
audiences often think they're buying a product when they buy a game, but in reality, they're actually buying licenses. Now,
Yep.
since October, Steam explicitly states that all purchases are licenses, that it's not ownership. And that was always
I don't think that's enough. Just because you say something should be a certain way doesn't mean it is that way. I think that a customer should be entitled to certain things when they spend their money, and you shouldn't be able to just take it away from them because they signed some TOS. That's bullshit.
Case. It's just that now it's no longer hidden in their EULA. And Valve's timing was, let's just say, curious here. That's because California signed AB 2426, stating that any media that you can't permanently access offline must be labeled as a license, not a product. Now,
there it
side
is.
This is companies
That's a
seeing
good
PR
start.
opportunities, and there's a beautiful irony. Ubisoft. Yes, the very company that started this whole mess is actually taking action. That's because they're testing offline modes for the Crew 2 and Motorfest. And I think it's fairly clear that the Stop Killing Games movement inspired this. So, you know what? In certain ways, it's
And I think there's also like a certain level of consumer advocacy that certain games and publishers will feel pressure to do this, even outside of the legal expectations. Like, now that companies are more afraid to do... A great example of this is like Web3 and NFT stuff. Nowadays, saying that you're going to make an NFT game or a Web3 game, this is like an immediate pass for, I would say, 98% of the internet. And so because there's such a negative sentiment around it, I think that it's created a feedback loop where companies are not making content that way.
Not sure.
already winning. Now, another thing that could inspire this was an actual lawsuit, specifically a Californian one about the closure of the Crew. Well, that lawsuit is actually facing some problems right now, and that's because of the Final Fantasy XI related precedent that lets companies
we have to hunt down the Lollapalooza.
Because, well, as a
Ooh,
user,
buddy, wait,
all
give
you
me a
bought is a license,
There we go.
and that can be
Here you get my
revoked.
chat
That's
back
a ruling
on
that
my
obviously
screen.
plays to Ubisoft's advantage in that lawsuit. But looking at the big picture, we
Talk to her
actually
again,
do see
start the-
developers are
start the
choosing to
thingy.
address these issues.
I agree with companies being able to remove users from their own servers. Like, for example, like if you're on a multiplayer server and you're cheating, I think they should 100% be able to ban you.
Yeah.
You think it's
I
good to
agree
think
with
like
this.
that? I do. I'm very much a big fan of that. I think it's a great thing. I think that every company should exist, at least not for the detriment.
Look, I'm
of
not
the
someone with the
population.
time to play World of
I'm a
Warcraft.
big advocate.
But if I was, I'd be very upset
and consumer protections.
Because I've played an MMORPG like that. Like, I have
And not because
a
they're being
lot
forced
of
to by the
high-level
law,
characters
seemingly
and
because they want to. But there are many reasons
Maple
for that.
Story.
It could be PR, or it could simply be.
I also
because
played
they
quite a bit of
see
New
where
World.
The wind is blowing. Here's
Yep.
something
Oh,
cool.
actually,
Take
I
a look at
refunded that one.
Supermoon's
Same as
World
Web
of
3.
Parkour. This is
I
an
played
indie
the
game
beta
that
for it a lot.
legal
That's what-
obligations
Oh.
prevent
They had, like,
keeping
an
the
open
online
beta
functions
for it.
active, but existing owners can still play it in single player. There's another example. Whenever Blizzard Entertainment purchased Spellbreak's developer,
Oh, yeah.
they obviously stopped the game. But months later, they released a peer-to-peer version of the game on itch.io. That's awesome. And
Yep.
before all of this, Valen Studios ended Knockout City.
Yeah,
They-
there's no reason why they can't do this.
Nice.
Really, there's no reason why they can't do it. And also, by the
Push
way,
him?
we can
I
just
think
tell
that's
them
good.
to do it. You realize that, right? We can just say you have
Because I
to
don't
do
have
this
much
now.
of it.
And if enough of us get
Or
together
any of it.
and
That
we
might have
say
been the
you
first
have to
one I
do
got.
this
I don't
now,
know.
then
I
they
don't
have
think
to do
so.
it.
I feel like the
Because that's the way the
notification would have been
government
different.
works.
But
They made sure that private servers still would work. This is
It's that
basically
simple.
3 indie teams finding a way to preserve their games retroactively.
Neat.
It is good
Now
shit.
it's
It matters.
auto
Now,
game.
Yes,
Great.
it is the case
Nice.
that player counts may be in the single digits, but it preserves gaming history. If a bunch of people want to play one of these games together, they actually can. And if Stop Killing Games passes, developers would have to consider things like this, not retroactively, but from day one. And that doesn't mean you can no longer make an MMO. You can still make Helldivers,
Okay, this is-
but you'll
I'm
need
getting
to
into
sell
an
your
area of
game
this game that
correctly.
feels
You'll need to label
very
them
much
as what they
more
actually are.
unfinished
Are they
than the rest of the game
products,
so
or
far.
are they licenses? And you'd need to provide some sort of exit plan whenever servers shut down. And
Exactly.
nobody is saying that retrofitting games for offline play is an easy
Ooh,
thing.
hello. That's
Don't
really
actually
fucking
think
cool.
that's what-
Just because
What are
something
you
is
again?
complicated
You're-
to do
you're
doesn't
an
mean that
Androrax.
You should just forego the consumer
Think.
experience. And
But you're
then
something-
the
you're something
consumer
like it,
shouldn't
but
be
you're special.
represented or treated in a way
I don't remember.
that's
Maybe you're not
ethical or fair.
exactly an
I think
Androrax.
that there's a lot of things about this that make it complex and difficult. but that doesn't really matter to me because what really matters is whether
Is it
something
literally?
like this is
No.
in the best interest of the player.
It's a Guardian
There's a lot of
Fulgur.
things
That's
that are
it. The
complex
Fulgur
and difficult,
engine
and
ass.
if you can't do it and you can't deliver that product to the
Did I say
market,
Angirax?
then that's your weakness as
I
a
don't even know what
business.
these creatures are anymore, dude.
Like, not every business has the right to exist.
Reason not to try this, because in many ways the direction of travel has not.
World
been
really was
great.
made to be an introduction into the series, and I love it.
Law, at least until recently.
World
I
is
think
such a
making
great
progress
game.
in this realm is absolutely
And Rise was
critical.
good too,
And I think
because
the
they
idea,
changed it up.
why
They
not
added something
try?
different that was really fun to
Well,
play
that
with.
is the attitude that
And
we
I don't know, I really
Of
enjoyed
course,
Rise,
as
but
for
this
some of the
feels like
reasons why
World
not,
2,
like we've heard those from Pirates
and I'm
Select,
not gonna
I
lie,
think
there's
Oh,
not
yeah.
a lot
thinking
going on
about
for it to be
balance,
World
that
2.
it's actually worth giving this a shot.
I guess
Yeah.
is why they
Consumer
didn't call it World
awareness,
2.
Consumer protections and, well, data preservation are pretty damn good reason why we should actually try. So, it's up to you.
Fuck.
My question is simple. Why not give it a try? You can find the thing linked down
Okay.
below.
It's a great initiative. It is. And if
I'm
you're
surprised that I'm
from the EU,
alive.
you should sign it, even though it's past 1 million in case of fake signatures.
With pleasure.
I actually think this is one of Belluar's best videos. I think that's probably the reason why so many people watched it. He brought in a number of elements of insight into this that I think nobody else has really discussed. And I think that he talked about the psychology of how and why the resurgence happened in a extremely informed and intelligent way. This is one of his best videos. I'm going to link it to you
well,
guys.
If you want to see an example of consumer
Okay, I was
being
not
truly
expecting that to
fantastic,
hit
Give it a
me.
like.
Capcom, you're being naughty, and it's time to call you out. You can find out all about it.
Yep.
It's next.
There's the video right there.
Okay. Well, I am
I
a Charge
genuinely,
Blade player,
reason why
meaning that
signing
I
petitions
just
is actually a bad
auto
idea,
guard
it
and
may
a lot
lead
of
to
shit.
Pirate Software saying, "I told you so."
Well, that
in
was
case
lovely.
it doesn't go well. Well, no, I mean, like, then people are just going to push for it in general, right? A weird conspiracy I just saw. What if Pirate said all that to bring attention to the movement and have it succeed? I don't think that's why he did it. I don't think so at all. But, you know, either way, it
Yeah, I don't think
created
he did that at
effect,
all.
And I think that having
So
a
what-
base
what-
for people
what kind
to
of
go
terrain
against
is this? What the
definitely
fuck?
helped a lot of people advocate for it and go after it. That's 100% true. And what is this here? What do you think is really going to happen, though? Will these companies truly cave? I think that you guys have a very, very pessimistic view on how easy it is to make companies do what you want whenever the government just tells them to do something. The fact is that the government has the army, the government has the guns, the government has all of the power. If they tell a company to jump, the company says how high. That's it. And if they don't say how high, then they do what they do to that guy from Telegram. They just put the motherfucker in jail.
Yeah.
And then the next person does it. That's it. It's that simple. It's so fucking easy. They have to follow the law. And if you don't, they shut you down. That's the way it is. Apple cable is the best example. Yeah, Apple wanted to make their own charger cable. And then they said, no, you have to just use a basic USB-C cable. And you know what they did? They did a USB-C cable. It's literally that simple. You can make them do whatever you want. You can. You all you need to do is get enough people together, and then you apply the law to them. That's it. And it's that simple. Or the company moves to a different country. It doesn't matter, because even if the company moves to a different country, if it's doing business in your country, then they're still like, I mean, then the company can get blocked. They can extradite
Damn.
people. There are a million ways that governments can find like opportunities to negatively affect one of these companies. And so don't ever think that this is beyond any level of accountability.
You
None
kidding
of
me?
these companies are, and they could easily do it as much as they want. Someone tell that to Nintendo? We could easily do that. And also, by the way, Nintendo is facing an issue with that right now. So they're facing a lawsuit right now over the ability to disable Switch 2 consoles in Brazil.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, I
Like,
forgot about
I
that,
don't
actually.
think, like, even in
Brazil's going
Brazil,
off,
they
dude.
can still hold Nintendo accountable.
Brazil's doing something amazing.
Yeah, and also the more companies do that, then the more, like, let's say like one country has this law. Okay, well, let's say Brazil. Brazil is a huge market, but it's not the size of the United States or the European Union, right? Or China. So let's say this happens and it's against the law in Brazil, but the company continues doing this stuff. That's totally fine.
Bad.
But the
Okay, yeah.
difference is that
Yep, it's
when
fine though.
more and more countries make it against the law, then that business model becomes increasingly less viable because you're looking at
Come on, let me get on the
audience,
secret.
and it's becoming more and more and more narrow. You see kind of how that happens? The chances are the others will follow. Yeah, and once enough countries make something
Yes,
against
please.
the law, it becomes
Thank
the
you.
default for international trade. That's what happens. And I think it primarily is decided by
Why is
two
Zuru
different
getting
groups of people,
paralyzed?
right? And it's primarily decided by the United States, China, and the European Union, and the UK.
Okay,
Those
I
are
didn't,
the
I didn't, I
prime
didn't get the reaction
main
time.
big money groups in society. And if
Thanks.
you're not making money inside of that, you've got some problems.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie though, the
I'm happy Nintendo's
Calico
getting sued,
is
especially
like
for this.
way
They are.
better
And
at
also
doing
keep in
its
mind
fucking
that
job
we could
in this
We
game.
could do this to them in the
You
United
know, it's not like
States,
having
too.
Donald Duck
The
with you the
European
whole
Union
time.
could do this to Nintendo too. There is no limit of what you can do.
I mean, the Palico's
If you get
better
enough
than
people
no, I
together,
don't know. It's
you
about
can
the
do
same.
anything you want.
Not bad. They just weren't great, and now it seems kind of great. You got me fucked up, dude. You got me fucked up in this situation. You're putting the fucking pressure on me. That's twice now I haven't been able to do my thing.
Got more coming. Look out.
Some good news. I mean, to be fair, the last video was good. But this is even better. Because now we're talking about what really matters. Video games. Stop Killing Games hit 1 million signatures. And it is
Yeah, y'all have fun.
continuing to go up.
I'm opening up this
Here we go.
wound over here.
Hey, I have some announcements on Stop Killing Games. And I'm going to be looking away a lot because my mind tends to go blank when I look into the camera, and I don't want to memorize this.
Yeah.
Okay, the breaking news. The European Citizens Initiative has crossed 1 million signatures. Except it hasn't. This is going to kill morale, but there are two things going on here.
Yep.
The first we knew was coming. Every time somebody makes a mistake when they sign the initiative, their signature gets invalidated.
Yeah, sure.
That means we need more signatures to make up for everybody's mistakes.
Yep, keep pushing.
Did you
Kinda reminds me of
did it
multiplayer
did it just
games
heal
where
its
you see
own
somebody
fucking
who just
wound?
has no idea what they're doing, like they're attacking a wall or something.
I think he literally just
So,
healed
in
his own
this
fucking
case-
wound.
This guy must have played WoW.
We need to pick up the slack for the
classic
people
WoW
who
player.
literally can't write their own name properly. That could be a lot. I've heard 10% minimum, 20% is better, 40% should be really safe. Or it would be, but we have a second problem.
What's that?
I've received several reports of people claiming to spoof signatures on the initiative site. First off, I want to say that this is not a change.org petition. This is a government process. Spoofing signatures on it is a crime. Please do not do this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some people did this, but like what is like? I would say the amount of people that are signing it that have problems with their signature is probably between 10 and 15% of people.
They'll be checked later by the EU
Somewhere
Commission,
around there.
and my guess is the fake ones will get turned over to Europol or Interpol, and they'll follow up on it.
That's good for them.
If it's coming from America, Interpol is known to cooperate a lot with the FBI. Now, will they prosecute people on this?
No, there's no way.
I have no idea.
But
Europe
it's not a
takes
good
this
idea
political
to do.
process is pretty seriously. So I would think the more it's being spoofed, the more they might send law enforcement after people doing this.
True, yeah. Maybe a
Again,
certain
I
example.
would not suggest doing this.
It's a good
It
point.
seems like a bad thing to risk going to prison over. But the
Just a
problem
little
here
bit.
is I am now in a complete fog as to how much this affects the initiative. Now don't worry. None of this will invalidate the initiative. All legitimate signatures will still count. But that 1 million number? Yeah, it might not be real. I
Oh,
think
he's
we
on it.
haven't
Is he on the death?
It's
thingy?
already probably.
I can't tell. I got a cord in the way. I don't think so.
It's probably up to 1 million and about 50,000 or so. Is that accurate? Pirate said that he would
Not
actively
yet.
work against SKG. Well, it didn't work.
600, 700,000 real signatures. Beyond that,
What
I don't
timing,
know.
Yeah, almost
dude?
50K. Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
it's
That's
just
what
one
I
or
thought.
two people who tried it, and this is nothing to worry about. Or maybe it's a sophisticated botnet spoofing hundreds of thousands of signatures.
It's probably just retards that put in the wrong data.
I have no clue.
That's what I would assume.
In fact, I noticed a few days ago we were getting a good rise in the day European time.
Yeah.
But then it would fall off a lot at night.
Didn't somebody
because
join the
people were going
quest?
to
I guess
bed.
they left.
Now it seems like it's rising a lot through the
Maybe
night.
they thought I wasn't doing the
So
objective.
maybe
I don't
most of
know.
this is an
Really
illusion
just
now.
DC'd.
We may not
So I see his point of view, but consider another point of view, which is because there's so much external inorganic traffic to the website through people who are in other countries besides the European Union countries that are driving attention to it, that is going to change the pattern of usage. Because like those people are making these calls to action at times that there are less European users awake or active because of just by the time that normal people here do it, right? And so I think that because there's been so many Western calls to action, that could be the reason why you're seeing that different distribution of usage. It also could be deliberate sabotage. Well,
kind of bad for me though. Okay, well I still got it.
To do this, I mean, I don't.
It's
think
kind of
that you
bad for
can
me though
just
because
do
it
this
got him
out
up.
of nowhere.
have won anything. I have to give credit
coincide
where
with
it's
video
due.
releases? Yeah, exactly.
I was looking forward to reaching a safe margin and putting this behind me. But now I guess I have to keep this up until July 31st because now there's no such thing as a safe margin. I have no idea
Well, there's a bigger number is always better, so it's better to keep pushing. And I think Ross is very smart, and he's also being reasonable and level-headed about this, where it's like a huge update, a massive success, but also maintaining a degree of skepticism.
He's been hindered
and
so
logic,
seriously
and not just
by having that tail
giving up
removed.
or forgetting about it.
Okay, but this is still bad. Like, he's still got his fucking mouth. Oh, I'm done, dude.
Better be, yeah, it's better to
Get
be
me outta
harder,
here.
and now I'm on the hook even longer.
Being safe.
I will be so happy for this campaign to end. Actually, if you're really good at data analysis, I'd say try to look at those first couple days around June 24th and 25th, especially when Moist Critical dropped his video.
Yep.
I remember seeing about a 5% increase in signatures proportional to his views.
Oh, for fuck's
So it might be
sake,
safe
dude.
to assume big YouTube views
Get away
translate to
from me.
5%.
No, 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 no!
Maybe you can
Okay,
figure out what a
okay.
real margin needs to be.
Okay. Oh, okay.
With Moist Critical,
Get
you
up.
have to look at it with different people. So, for example, like if Sea-Dog made a video about it or PewDiePie made a video about it, both Japanese users, they probably have a different makeup of American to European audiences. So you can't even use a 5% ratio because Charlie is in Florida in the United States. And so the majority of his audience is probably going to be from that same country. So you'd have to, like, there are too many different levels of telemetry that you'd need to have, and a lot of that data isn't available publicly in terms of demographic percentages.
Oh,
that
I'm
cross-reference
so
to,
amazed that they let
assume
me
that
survive
there would be
that.
a certain amount of, click-through rate through a video into a signature, right? Because you could measure that, but the different data points that you would need to that are not, you would need for that are not public.
So yeah,
It's just
that sucks.
It's just how it is.
We'll just keep plodding away unless we
And
can
then
figure
there's
out what the
other
safe numbers
there's other
are.
variables too.
Sorry,
like
this
for
is-
example, like a diminishing return. Like somebody makes 3 videos on it. Okay, the third video is not going to have the effect the first video.
This isn't a big victory celebration. This is just kind of suspenseful and tense
It
instead.
is suspenseful.
And will probably
wait, the
hurt
tail.
morale of people signing.
Yes.
You know how in World War II, the Japanese had soldiers entrenched in a bunch of Pacific islands?
Oh no!
Except some of them never got the memo when the war
no.
ended in 1945.
Yeah.
Why?
So
What
they
are
just
y'all?
stayed there
You're
for
like
years,
Guardian
assuming the war was
things?
still
Is that gonna
on.
be
Guardian
you?
secrets?
That's kind of where I am right now mentally. At least it all
I think
ends
that's
in
exactly
one.
what they are.
Okay, another announcement.
That's when it begins. No, that's when it begins, because then you're going to have best case scenario lawmakers evaluating that and then making decisions themselves. That's going to be even bigger than this is.
We've gotten reports that some countries, I think Italy and Belgium especially, where sometimes the digital ID system didn't work. In those cases, I'd say either use the manual method, which we have instructions for on stopkillinggames.com, or you could try coming back in a few days and see if it's working.
Yeah.
Another news item, I've been told someone has launched a cryptocurrency based on Stop Killing Games.
I don't don't know why it froze like that, but oh, it's because my controller is dead. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, this is bad, dude.
Just so everyone's clear, that had nothing to do with us.
Oh no, this is like so
I have
bad.
no clue who would even want that. I'm sure it's a scam.
We'll have to hunt another
So,
beast after this.
Yeah, that's all there is to it.
Plot twist.
Something
it's
else
pirate
to cover
software.
quick is I've heard a couple reports of people harassing pirate software.
Jesus.
I feel like this goes without saying, but if it doesn't, no. Of course we do not endorse harassing you.
It's fine to disagree with the points that he makes in videos, but whenever you take that and you turn it into
And it's dead
personal
again.
attacks that transcend the argument of the video, all you're doing is being a bitch.
I said in my
Gotta
response
rearrange
video,
everything.
I wished him no ill will, and I meant that.
Yeah, he just
You know
disagreed
why?
with it.
When people's lives are better,
I've
they're
adjusted,
less
it's fine.
inclined to foment some sort of revenge. And
No,
I've
I'm dead again.
already without adding to the
Yeah,
pile.
true.
I mean, I'm getting some crazies heading my way too, though I can believe it's not as many.
All right.
I also
Maybe
pointed out
maybe my
last
controller
time,
is
whatever damage
truly
Ford did to
charging
the
this time.
campaign has been neutralized.
I'm pretty sure it
So
is.
whatever happens is not on him anymore. I'm focused on the signatures. If Thor and I never bother each other again, that is just fine by me. I also don't hold him responsible for anything his fan base does. I'm not a fan of collective punishment.
Yep.
And on the flip side, Stop Killing Games is a populist movement. That's the very definition of messy. I can control that like I can control the weather. Oh, and speaking of barely keeping up, I've been having to play triage on
about
emails
that.
and messages and prioritize the ones most critical for the campaign.
Yep.
So a lot of you are going to get a delayed response, but I should mostly catch up. Eventually.
He's a good guy.
Okay, the final announcement.
Yes. What is
The
it?
UK government petition has cleared 100,000
Wow.
signatures. I suspect
And
these
that's 134.
Oh, finally.
By the way, like, bro, like that's like a third again more than what they needed. This is massive.
signatures are more legit.
Huge.
Though you can keep on signing
Big.
it too as a safety margin. More will not hurt anything. So what should we expect from this? I honestly have no idea.
Fuck
I
yeah.
would bet money on the EU initiative delivering something good if it passes. But the UK has been more about exhausting
bet.
all options. I will say whatever happens cannot be worse than the old answer from the Department of Media, Culture, and Sport. Yeah, we get
Right
to
here, aren't
leapfrog
you?
over this
Yeah,
garbage.
exactly.
This really is recycled garbage.
Uh-huh.
Remember, we tried to
Here,
launch
let me
this
go
last year,
back.
and they gave us an answer that was so bad, it was
First.
rejected by the petitions committee, and they told government to try again because this didn't answer the question. But then Parliament was dissolved, and when
Restock,
it came
and
back
then I'll
and
fight
we
it.
relaunched again, we got the same answer copied and pasted into the new one. Just
So it's wow. Okay, great, perfect.
rearranged a little bit. Part of me suspects
They
all
just don't give
action
a
in
fuck.
the UK has been held up by one grumpy bureaucrat in the department. Well, now we can ignore that crap and head straight to Parliament. I mean, they cannot do worse than this. A member of Parliament could sneeze on the petition, and that would not be a worse answer.
All right, let's
and that's
get
the
it.
one guarantee.
Now, y'all been fucking this thing up for a little bit.
Yep, they're gonna
Without
talk
me.
about it.
Now, for those of
I've
you
been
wanting
seeing
to
the-
juice this
the
further,
notifications
it's
on the
been
side of
brought
my
to attention
screen.
There's a page for finding out who your
Okay,
member
what
of
the
Parliament
fuck?
is. If you want to reach out and tell them yes.
Easier? Did I walk
bring
into one of
this
the
up
red
and
things?
Jacksepticeye did 70% of the work. I actually think that I
That had
played
to
a very,
be-
very
that had to have been
memorable
it.
role in this. Maybe at the beginning.
I walked right
played
into
a
one of the
pretty
red
big role,
things.
But in terms of the resurgence, I don't think that I did. I think that the main guys that really took this over the edge were Charlie, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, and a few other dudes. Like, I really think it was those guys that did it. Because, like, again, I had already talked about this. My audience already knew about this. But those other guys, you know, they hadn't really gotten into it. I think Charlie made, like, one video about it, but that was it.
Parliament. I'd say,
Mood art, yeah, for sure.
that could help. But that absolutely is more work than signing your name, so I'm keeping my expectations in check.
Yeah, really.
There's a link in the description
Pirate
of this
Drama
video.
brought attention to it? Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Just keep pushing. Now we're in the fog.
Yeah, there it is, bro. Look at the eye. Bro. Bro. He's out for blood. He's gonna get this petition signed, whether you like it or not. You're gonna sign that motherfucker. It's the Hate for Pirate Software that did it. No, I think that people like PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye, I think the support for it was totally
I How did I miss two of these? Or three of them.
Organic. That's what I would
Two of
say.
them. I don't know how to count.
They always looking crazy. Yeah, a little bit. The pirate stuff kicked it off. The pirate stuff was really popular on social media, but I don't think that it was a real big activator in terms of making this happen. I think this is a great thing. It's an amazing thing. I totally support it. I think you guys really should try to give a video and, you know, give a sub to Ross with the Cursed Farms here. I mean, it's really because of him that all of this has happened. I mean, he put this on his back, what was it, 10, 11 months ago. And now it's finally coming to fruition.
I meant to hold it.
This is an
You know what? It's
accomplishment.
fine. It's okay. We don't have to hold things out here.
And nothing is accomplished by
He's trying to hold me,
I
though.
think it was still a heroic effort.
Kind of.
And it was
Not
something
really,
that
but
he
a
did
little
that
bit,
nobody
little
else
bit. You know what I'm
did.
talking about.
And so,
Nice.
no matter what happens, I think he deserves a lot of respect and credibility for this. And I think that everybody should appreciate at least his attempt, if not his effort, in making video gaming better. So yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan. I totally support him, absolutely. Let me link it again, and there it is.
Yeah, y'all did hella shit to this guy, actually. Wow. Okay. This was not even the main problem. It's just a little side quest.
I've heard for years, months, days, weeks, every modicum of time that P. Diddy's case is
Alright,
over.
I'm gonna have
and
to
that
either
he
learn how
is
to play
a
this with a
serial
controller,
pedophile,
I'm sorry, keyboard and
that
mouse,
he is a serial
or
criminal,
put it down for now.
and he went to trial and he was
Because
found
I
not
can't
guilty of
I can't
so
play with
many
this
things
controller
the
and, like-
internet actually went after him for, and so it left me into a conundrum. Did I fall
Okay, it's
victim
dead.
to believing another person who did nothing wrong was actually
The
a
issue
vile
is the
person, or
connect-
is this
the
an
cord, not the
example of
controller.
someone with wealth and fame beyond
If
our
I-
wildest
if I had a better
imaginations
cord
using
that
their power to
was
turn
actually
a
made
jury?
to fit the
In my
thing. I
mind,
don't know where the
case is
actual
over
cord
and
for the
shut,
controller is at
but
anymore.
It is,
But
he
the
didn't
cord
do
that I'm
nothing wrong.
using
He
for
absolutely
it
had
has
3
like a
criminals on more
fatter
serious
square
charges,
on it. It's
2
a
convictions
USB-C
on the less
still.
charges. Yeah,
It's got a
absolutely.
fatter
But this
square
whole
on it than the
situation
one it came
is
with.
very odd. And let's get into Charlie's thoughts on this, and then I'll give mine. P. Diddy looks literally evil in his face, and he's like, man, yeah, I swear to God, we caught this guy on cameras beating his girlfriend too. Am I insane?
Infuriating and sad day. I guess all the baby oil paid off for P. Diddy because he was too slippery for the justice system.
Hey,
Good one.
a bitter
Cannot
environment.
believe it. They have now
Same.
reached a verdict on all the charges.
Are we on to
and
chapter
he has
5
been
now?
acquitted of the most serious ones. The Lord of Lube wiggles his way out of it somehow, despite overwhelming
Bird monsters? Oh,
evidence
we're already
to
unlocking
support
that?
the allegations against P. Diddy about the decades worth of evil,
Absolutely.
criminal activities and actions he has done.
We're calling them artisan
terrorizing
weapons in
the
this
music
game.
industry
Ooh,
and so
cool.
many
And I can now
individuals.
get up
It
to
seems like
level
so many
26.
first eyewitnesses weighing
Or hunter
in
rank
on
26.
yes, this guy did this to me when I was 10. This guy did this to me when I was 12, including Justin Bieber. So, something just doesn't sit right with me here.
Like, the dawn of dildos is about to get away with a slap on the
Oh.
wrist. And maybe not even that much. He's been found guilty on 2 of the lesser charges.
Forge artisan
which
weapons by
could
Which I
gathering
believe
3
was
artisan
like,
parts of the same
I believe the special
rarity.
charge he was found guilty
Parts
on
required
was,
differ by weapon.
transportation to prostitution. 2 charges of it, but all the serious charges were acquitted, I believe.
a maximum of 20 years in prison. But I've completely lost faith in the system here. I have to imagine this is all just now horseradish and barnacles. I think he will probably just get away with like 6 months probation or some shit.
5
I don't
counts.
have
We
2
have a
crushed
mixed
tubes.
verdict here. Again, count
Or a
1 as it
rusted
relates
device.
to racketeering, not guilty. Count 2 as it relates to sex
Unfortunate.
trafficking, not guilty. Count 3, guilty. Count 4, not guilty. Count 5, guilty.
Those 2 counts he was found guilty on, that was like Weenie Hut Jr. level charges compared to the rest, and it's something the defense, I imagine, was extremely pleased to have been found guilty on versus the rest. They were so happy, in fact, that reportedly P. Diddy even stood up and started clapping. Literally like a Tumblr fanfic.
Okay,
He
what?
stood up, started clapping, and then like his
What is the
friends and
button?
family
Shift?
erupted into applause. Now the judge is considering what bail should be, and we move on to the next stage, which will be...
I think the very scary thing about all this is that the truth really doesn't matter in the court system. Many criminals are found innocent, and many victims are found guilty. And it's very scary because in 2025...
having the two R's there just reminds me of Per Lilies.
And it's unfortunate because it sounds awful.
I'm not happy.
It doesn't matter what's the truth. It only matters what you can prove. And it's a dangerous precedent, but it's an
I've never used
important
Per
one to
Lilies.
have,
That's why I don't like Per Lilies. I
when you
feel
just
about
go
most
off
archetypes in
someone's
Yu-Gi-Oh!
word, that's a
I
very
don't like them until I
slippery
use them.
slope.
Because they fuck me up, but then I use them and I fuck up.
But the one thing
People.
for sure,
So
when
it's
you
great.
have generational wealth, I'm not talking millionaire. A millionaire in today's
So
society,
many side missions all of a
fucking
sudden.
nothing.
All right, bet.
When you're a multi-millionaire, 50 mil, 100 mil, 1 bill, and dude, let's just look up P. Diddy's net worth here real quick. Yeah, when you have a net worth of 400
Got
million,
3 of these right off the bat.
nearing a billionaire, you have powers to do things that the normal folk don't have. And yeah, I heard there's a lot of dark things that happen on the trial, but I want to continue here.
Oh yeah, we got some of these now.
Two charges which carry a maximum of 10 years each. He's not going to be seeing the maximum. He probably won't even be seeing the minimum. They might just let him walk away with being forced to play League of Legends solo queue for like 2 months or something, and that'll be his punishment. It is such a fucking joke.
Dude, it's actually crazy.
I actually still can't believe it. It is sickening. So I truly wouldn't be surprised if he just fully walks free from this, and I guess we can expect the grand reopening of Puffy Flavor Camp. Everyone out there, sleep in fear. Make sure you're sleeping on your back, because if you sleep on your stomach, P. Diddy might just break into your house in the middle of the night and shove a dildo up your ass. It is still just so fucking unbelievable to me. I thought this was dead to rights. Not only because of the overwhelming evidence, but also his team wasn't exactly a cohesive unit. Like, not that long ago, one of his big lawyers quit, saying he could no longer, under any circumstances, represent him, serve as a member of his council. And somehow, they were still able to squeak a win out.
I was going to check something, but I don't need to do that. I don't care to do that.
I don't know. Did they promise, like, freak-off invitations to the jury? I have no clue. I don't get it. I really, truly do not understand how this just happened.
It's a mixed verdict, but it is a stunning victory for the defense. The Mann Act, these charges, these were the easiest for prosecutors.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Was that not P. Diddy that we had on camera doing this shit? We had his ass on camera.
That was captured inside of a Los Angeles hotel in 2016 allegedly shows Combs assaulting then-girlfriend.
We got this motherfucker on camera.
In a hallway.
We're not going off words or nothing, man. Like, we got motherfuckers doing this shit in 4K.
The video appears to show Combs chasing her down the
hall. How did we fuck this up?
And then repeatedly kicking her. So far, there's been no...
Like, this ain't the normal trial where it's like, you know, some woman cried wolf and then, you know, people aren't believing her. It's like we have fucking video proof of him doing this horrific ass shit. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. That clip wasn't related to the trial at all. Yeah, no, but what I'm just saying is like, there was so much evidence of him doing that other shit. That's why I'm so confused how this shit didn't pass.
To prove the lowest hanging fruit, merely required showing that state lines were crossed for the purpose to engage in prostitution. We
9 years ago.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking wild.
Did not have that element, Laura, of force.
I'll tell you what, though, I am going to go ahead and end the stream. It's like 1 a.m.